National Black Reading Month.
And why is that important?
Uh, one of the adages that we hear in our communities so often, that if you want to keep something from African people, you put it in the pages of a book.
Right.
Well, what is in between the pages of a book? All of the information, all of the knowledge that our children need in order to be able to know what direction to go in terms of building a better future for themselves and being a part of the change that needs to happen. So 44 years ago in Detroit, Michigan, there became the declaration of the National Black Reading Month to be September. And so since we became aware of this, we think it's necessary that people of African descent begin to celebrate days, holidays and commemoration days that are important to them, that have significant meaning to their lives, to their culture, to their growth and development. National Black Reading Month is one of those occasions that is extremely important. Reading opens up the imagination. Reading takes you places that you normally would not go. It inspires you to want to see things that you need to see.
Right.
To understand ideas that you need to understand.
Critical thinking skills.
Critical thinking, exactly. So again, that's why this month is important. And where else but in the African Art Gallery, the hub of African culture here in Medgar Evansville, what's commonly known as Jackson, Mississippi. What better place to have a celebration of National Black Reading Month? The only other place that would have been appropriate, of course, is Marshall's Music and Bookstore in their Black section.
Right.
That section just couldn't hold enough people in order to have it there. But we're so glad that she's here with us. Who are you again?
Maate Primm,
Owner of
Marshall's Music and Bookstore.
Where's that at?
Down the street.
And where are you?
Fair Street.
And I'm Iafalola Omobola. I've been here for quite a while. I work with the People's Advocacy Institute and a number of other areas. The thing I want to add to the importance of reading is learning too what not to believe and what not to understand in the books that are used to try to indoctrinate us and teach us.
And how do you do that? How do you figure out what not to read?
First and foremost, of course, you're going to look to those who write who look like you. That would be the first thing that you would recognize. Individuals who look like you are going to speak in a language that is familiar to you, that is innate to your thinking. So you're going to look for those individuals that speak to who you are first and foremost.
Right.
Then you're going to look at titles, subject matter that is essential to your own personal growth and development. And of course, we know that we have plenty of books that were published during the Black Power movement that introduced us to what needs to happen in terms of the plan for moving forward.
Right.
But of course, in the modern times, we've also had additional material that has been added to those books that were published during those times. Again, we look at Hakeem Adabuti, we look at J.A. Rogers. We look at help me out, y'all. We look at
Amos Wilson.
We look at those individuals.
Bobby
Richard
Wright.
Marima
Ani. You know, we look at those individuals that brought us information from the Harlem Renaissance all the way up to the Black Power movement.
Right.
And then of course the Black Power movement got dormant for a moment. So this month allows us to go back and revisit that era and understand that we still need to understand the importance of our identity, the importance of who we are as African people, and to take that and move it forward.
Can I ask each one of you a question? What was the most impactful book that you've ever read, and when did you read it? Starting with you.
We Shoot Back by Akinyele Umoja.
And why was that book so important to you, and when did you read it?
It's a book about armed resistance in Mississippi. I read it when it first came out, which would have been about almost 10 years ago now.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful to see that we can win. We not only do we shoot back, but we can win, and we do win. And that's what we're not told.
Okay.
Yes.
There are two books that impacted my life. One was Soledad Brothers by George Jackson. I read that book in '71. and it was the first book I read from cover to cover. And
The man child.
yeah, I was coming into my own, and so that was impactful for me. Then the second book that I used as a Bible for myself is Daily Motivations for African Americans by Dennis Kimbrough. I mean, it just gives me, I can look on there and pick a day and I can find something that an essay, an affirmative statement, affirmation that I can share with somebody else who might be down on their luck or confused about where they are. So, and then of course there was Black Pearls that does the same thing. But for me, it was Daily Affirmations for African Americans by Dennis Kimbrough.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about Alzheimer's in the car earlier today, and I am 68 years old, but I will tell you that I do remember they came before Columbus. And one of the things that book...
Ivan Van Sertima, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one of the things that book taught us is that the bully trap that they wanted to give about who's founded and who started and who brought and all the rest of that was exposed within this book. And so we came to understand that we were here long before the here was established.
For any Spaniard step foot on this continent.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And when did you buy it? When did you buy it?
I grew up in a household that it was made available.
Do you remember the year that you read it? Do you remember that time? Okay.
Sorry.
But you remember it had a great impact on you?
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right. And I'm going to ask you guys one more question pertaining to the water crisis in Jackson. Do you guys know who Ted Hennepin is?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on Jackson water?
Don't drink it.
Not that one, the corporation Jackson Water.
I'm unfamiliar with where that is at this point. Again, the focus for me has been the idea that something is attempting to be done in order to correct the water crisis.
Right.
And the good news was that they didn't depend on the state to get it done. You know, what's very important is that we realize that money has been coming into Jackson for forever. But it's not, or I should say into Mississippi. It just has stopped making its way to Jackson somewhere around 1990 when white flight became very obvious. As white people started to move out, so did the money that was coming into Mississippi that was targeted for Jackson.
So the federal government has been sending money here to fix these infrastructure problems. But the problem is that it's going through somebody's hands before it gets to Jackson
Well,
hands.
again, monies that come into the state have to come through the State Department, and then they ration it to wherever they want it to go. No matter how it's earmarked, they get a chance to determine where it will go. And that's been the problem for the last 30 years at least, maybe 35, 40 years, is that the idea when white flight became a serious consideration or serious effect of Jackson's population, not only did the white people flee, they also took the money with them, especially the money that was coming into the state that was targeted for Mississippi. You understand, Mississippi has always been at the bottom of all the important metrics, right? I mean, and so they qualify for more money than most other states.
Right.
But again, as is the case with politics, the money that is earmarked that you get for fixing problems never goes to the problem that it was designed to fix.
Right.
We see that with the embezzlement funds and
Right.
with the welfare fund.
Right. Yeah. That's just the tip of the iceberg.
And that's
just
just what they exposed.
Right.
Because even now you keep hearing new names like the governor's brother or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, who
I'm not even familiar with him.
You know, so,
Yeah.
you know, he had, you know, at one point they was trying to put all the weight on Brett Favre, right? Because he got $5 million, but there was what, 100 and something odd, $200 million is missing.
Right.
He got 5, but you're gonna put the whole weight on one person.
Yeah.
So now it's coming out that
Ted DiBiase or something like that, and
but
Marcus
not
Dupree.
only did those people get some, but you know the way they filtered it was through the governor's relatives.
Oh.
And his brother is one of the persons that's coming out now that wasn't named before. And as we keep digging, I'm sure we're going to find some more names.
Right. But I mean, if we don't find names, we find cities. Cities like Madison, cities like Ridgeland and Flowood and
that are flowing.
That are affluent because
of Jackson's money.
of Jackson's money.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And try to find a pothole in Madison.
Right.
It's hard to find one.
Right.
Right.
It really is. I've driven through there.
Yeah.
And the other part of that is understanding that the people who are considered those in power are deliberately preventing the resources that are necessary for us as a people to receive what we need as far as the water is concerned, the sewers are concerned, anything within the city proper, and it's responsibility of the state. We don't get what it is that we need. And what they often try to do is pass that fault down to the city. And it's not the city that is doing that. And then I want to say one last thing that we've not talked about, or we don't collectively talk about, and that is about the crumbling of the city roads. I have lived in most major cities between New York and California. I have been there when roads have been repaired. I have never in my life experienced what I have experienced here as far as the roads are concerned. And I say, and I maintain, and those who get sick of hearing me say it are going to get sick again, we're on top of a volcano.
Right.
And that volcano is alive. They keep trying to say that that volcano is dead, but the corner of, what is that when you come off the highway and you're at the Capitol grounds?
Okay.
And you'll notice in the summer that ground opens up.
Right.
I'm told that if you go down, you can come to the head, the eye of the volcano.
Wow.
That volcano is.
Oh, you mean a literal volcano?
No, it is. Yeah. It's
I thought you were thinking metaphorically. I never even heard of that.
I'm talking
No, it
about
is.
a
It's
real.
real.
It's a real volcano under Jackson?
And it's
Yeah.
not dead. And
Jackson's
so
sitting on top of it.
right. And so
Yeah.
when it
Yeah.
shivers, we get cracks in the road. I can't get anyone to agree with me. But I'm telling you, I have lived in a number of places where roads in cities that have less monies flowing through than here that have been repaved, and you don't have the same issue.
Wow, I did not know that.
Okay, well maybe whoever watches this didn't know that either, and we can come together
Yeah.
and push against that in
Right.
some shape, form, or fashion.
There are so many issues that when you talk about dollars, especially, so many issues that where you use Jackson as your statistical analysis for the need for money, but that money never makes it to Jackson in order
Never
to
makes
solve
it
the
to
problems
Jackson.
Yeah.
that Jackson has.
Yeah.
And again, that's the nature of politics. And so, as Africans, people of African descent, we have to learn how to play politics in order to turn it into politics,
Right.
so that it actually works for the people.
Right.
Right.
And trick the tricksters.
Okay, well, I'm gonna ask y'all one more question. I know I said I'm gonna ask y'all this one last question.
Preacher, just one more.
This one last question.
Wait.
Because you said she spoke on something that I didn't know. Right now, it's gonna be a quick question. Right now, at your house, what is the water looking like when it comes out the faucet? And do you trust it?
I don't trust the water. I don't have a lot of a good flow, and it looks normal, but I don't use it. So
Okay.
Again, mine looks normal. We just do the best we can with it. I bathe with it, but I don't drink it.
I have been in households here where the water's come out brown and has been looking bad. Where I'm living now, I've been there for at least 5 years. The water comes out clear, but I haven't drunk water from the faucet, prepared food from the faucet in a long time. That's even before I came to Jackson. So I've never trusted it, but the water's been clear. I've been able to take a shower in peace, and the water comes through, and I don't have any residual on it, and it doesn't slow down. I can wash clothes, and they come out clean, and the rest of that. So I trust the water for that, but I'd never put any of that water in my body unless I boiled it 1,000 times.